my name is Tori. This is Novel Life. Welcome back to my channel. It is time for me to go through all of the 5-star reads I've had so far this year. I want to do this every quarter, so after 3 months, so now that March is over and we're into April, I wanted to sit down and talk about all the 5-star reads that I've had. I thought I had way more. I have less than 10. And if you know me, I give out 5 stars pretty often, but for some reason, after the end of last year, I am very strict on 5 stars. I've had a lot of 4.5 stars, but I've had only 9 5-star reads, which is kind of bizarre to me. But I've had a great reading year so far. I found a lot of new books that I've loved. I found a lot of new authors. I've read authors' backlist or new releases that came out this year so far, and I've loved them. So I wanted to sit down and do this video and chat about them. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So these are going in chronological order. So the first books that I read down to the most recent. So the first one that I read in 2025, it was my first book of January. That is The Sword of Kaigan. So a lot of my friends read this last year and absolutely loved this book. And I purposely waited to 2025 to read this book because I knew that it would be a new favorite. It would be a 4.5, 5-star read. Like I just had that feeling, that vibe. Now, this is not a typical fantasy romance. I do love a good fantasy romance, but this is more high fantasy in the way where it follows our female character. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a friend, she's trying to figure it all out. And it's very complex. It's very real. I think that that's the part that hit me the most of how much I related to her as a woman, even though this kind of takes place in what I would consider old time Japan, probably. Like it just gives that vibe, but with magic. And I just really related to our female character. Like I said, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's trying to be a really good friend, she's trying to be the best at everything. And she starts to see things for how it is. And when her son comes to her and starts questioning things, she's like, do I be honest with him? Do I not be honest with him? Like, how am I supposed to handle these things? I'm not sure. It's like a new territory for her. And it kind of opens up a whole can of things between her husband, between someone from her past that comes up. It is just like an all-encompassing story. And I still vividly remember a lot of details about this book. So I really love this book. And towards the end of 2025, I will go back and reread some of my earlier 5-star reads, and this will be up there. So look out for maybe an annotate with me video, because I definitely want to read this one again, because I just really resonated with our female character and I loved it so much. So see why a lot of people love that one. The next one I have is a little bit of a cheat, if I'm being 100% honest. I read all the missing pieces at the end of 2024, but I never put it on any videos. I never put it in any wrap-ups or anything like that. So because this came out January 7th, I decided to put it on my January reads list. Now, I love this book from Catherine Cowles. It's a standalone, and you see that our female character, she's a true crime podcaster, which have I read a book with a podcaster? I don't know, it's been a while, but I love the romantic suspense elements because she goes to a super small town. She's trying to open up and solve this cold case, or what everyone thinks is a cold case. And she meets this super grumpy sheriff of the town, and he is not having her bullshit. And he's like, I want you gone. I want you out. And, she starts still pushing on through and trying to uncover and interview people. And he's like, well, I have to protect her. Like, she's getting herself into this, crazy situations, and I have to be there to protect her. And as they kind of start working together, things start to develop, feelings start to develop, and I love this one so much. Such a good standalone, so highly recommend you guys read this if you love romantic suspense, slow burn, all of that stuff. Another book I read was Comeback by Rebecca Jinchak. So you guys know me, I love disability, chronic illness rep in any books, and this one, our female character has asthma, and she's actually the hero's best friend's little sister, and she comes to live with them. She's new to the city. It's like a weird situation. She finds out she has a brother. They both find out later in life. Now, her brother is Brogan from the previous book, so you kind of see how this kind of sets up at the end of the last book, but you can read this completely as a standalone. But she comes to this town. She wants to open up her own dance studio, so she's trying to find a place to live, open up the dance studio, all these things. And he's like, oh, why don't you just come live with me and my best friend Archer? And Archer's like, what? He's like, Why would you do that? He does not like her. He's like very protective over Brogan, and that he considers like a best friend, brother type situation. I love this. I thought it was a good time. Like I said, she has asthma, but you know that Archer, if you've read the previous books, he is deaf. He's hard of hearing. He uses hearing aids. So I love that he signs. I love that it is such a big part of this book, and I just loved it so much. I loved how gentle they are with each other, even though like she has this asthma and chronic illness, and there's a time where he has to take care of her. But she's very conscious of, you know, making sure that she's facing him so he could read her lips if he's not wearing his hearing aids. And just some of the small things she does is just like so big to him, and it's just so sweet for me to read. So this is another one that I really loved that I want more people to read. Now, I would say one of like, if I had to pick a top book out of this whole list, this might be that book. So Unloved by Peyton Curran came out the beginning of February. I had an e-arc from NetGalley, and I devoured this book. When I tell you I devoured this book, I literally devoured this book. I loved it so much. Like, I thought Unsteady, which is the first book in this series, couldn't be topped. I thought there's no way she can top this book. Like, it's going to be amazing. If you love a friends to lovers, like a slow introduction, they're definitely friends first and they establish that relationship and then they move on to a romantic relationship. This book is for you. If you've ever been a people pleaser in life and you have moved on from that and is doing your own thing and you are unapologetically yourself no matter what people think or say about you, this book is for you. Both of our characters are people pleasers, and you see how they have come to be people pleasers, and you see how they like slowly like break free from that, and it is beautiful. But they have this like connection together. I wish I could describe this so much better, but it is amazing. Freddie is amazing. Ro is amazing. I want more people to read this if you haven't picked it up. Like, Peyton Curran is such an underrated author that I just want her to get, she deserves all the hype. I want everyone to read her. So if you pick up any recommendation, pick up this one. The next one I have is A Beautiful Exile by Catherine Cowles. Do you see a pattern? Catherine Cowles is one of my favorite authors. This is her newest release. It is the fourth book in the Sparrow Falls series. It follows Arden, who is she is grumpy, mad at the world. She listens to heavy metal. She is an artist, and she puts everything of herself into this painting, sculptures, whatever she's doing. And in walks Lincoln. He is her foster brother's best friend, billionaire, hockey team owner, and he is moving into like right next door to her. And he's like, you know what? When stuff starts going down, he's like, you know what? You're gonna move in with me, and I'm going to watch you, and we're going to be forced together, and we're going to live with it. And their romance is like so sweet, but like so electric at the same time. I loved it. Like, there are two people where she butts heads with a lot of people. She never opens up to people, and she starts to see things and link where she's like, I think this is a safe place to open up things with him, and I'm okay with that. So let's do it. And I love this one. Yeah, the fourth book in the Sparrow Falls series, technically you can read them as a standalone, but I loved the billionaire aspect. He's not like a in-your-face billionaire, but I love it. So throw that one out there. Now, these next two, I really can't talk about a lot of things because it's book 2 and 3 in a series. But the second book is A Storm of Secrets and Sorrow, and book 3 is Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance. This is books 2 and 3 in the Legacy series by Melissa K. Rorick. She has become an author that I will pick up a lot of stuff by her, but this series is one of my all-time favorites. I'm a huge fan of like the Throne of Glass series. That's one of my favorite series by Sarah J. Maas, and this gives me those vibes, not in any way other than there's all these side characters that she introduces that you slowly start to fall in love with, and you're like, wait, I need their story, what's going on, I need all of the things. And it's all encompassing, all consuming. Like, when I was reading these two books, that was all I was doing in my life, and I was not mad about it. The audiobooks are fantastic. Now, the fourth book does come out in August. Is it August? Oh my gosh, we're getting so close. And I cannot wait. I think it's the conclusion, but like, these are thick books, but I promise you they're going to be worth it. I gave the first book 4 stars, and I read it at the end of 2024. So I was so happy when someone told me to pick these back up, that they are so worth it, because they definitely are. I'm meeting Melissa K. Rorick in Polycon in April, and I cannot wait to just thank her for the world that she created. Now, I do want to read the Lady of Darkness series sometime this year. I just haven't dove into that because 5 books is a little intimidating. Why I thought 3 books like this length was not, but 5 books is, I don't know. It in my brain, that's how it is. But I'm very excited that I read those. Those are just top tier books. I love them so much. I could have like I could write a whole like thesis about why I love those books, okay? If I didn't say Dragon Shifters, Fae, Hierarchy, Tears, fantasy romances. Tessalyn has a revenge plot that she's trying to get. She's trying to figure out where she comes from. She's just trying to find herself, okay? She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know where she's going. She's just trying to find herself. So I did a horrible job explaining those, but yeah, I've talked about them a lot on my channel, so you probably heard me talk about them. But the next one I have is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I don't know why I waited so damn long for me to read this book, but I listened to the book in like 2 days, okay? I knew the audio books were out. I picked it for, I think, chronic illness or disability prompt. Now, she has chronic migraines in this book, and you see that she's previously married, and I say this all the time when I talk about this book because it's still stuck with me. Her ex-husband, well, her husband at the time, but you see it's like a flashback. She's like, yeah, my husband told me I wanted a wife, not a patient. And that really hits me because anyone who's chronically ill or has a disability, you always feel like a burden. But to hear that from someone you like said vows to, like I pledge to love you for the rest of our lives type of a thing. And for them to come back and say that when you're in bed with a migraine that you can barely see, you're nauseated, like all of these things, and that's what is said to you. It triggered something in me, but I've always felt that like people will talk or people will say something about me if they ever see me in person. And it's just really, really hit home for me. Like my husband is very much like totally fine with how I am. He's also chronically ill. We're just two chronically people living life type of a thing. But yeah, that one just really hit home for me. It's contemporary romance. It is emotional. It teeters on women's fiction because it's very much her story, but she does have an HEA at the end of the book, and it's a beautiful romance. It is a second chance romance, which is also one of my favorite things to read. So it was literally everything I could want in a book. It is so beautiful. Doesn't get enough hype. Like I recently read this, I think at the end of February, beginning of March, end of February. I think it was the end of February when I read this one. I loved it. It was like gripping. It definitely reminds me of some of my all-time like angsty romance authors like Emma Scott or Kennedy Ryan, like those very angsty authors. I loved it. So I cannot wait to read the other book that she has out. Oh my gosh, what it's called. I forgot what it's called, but it's on my TBR. I definitely want to read it. My last 5-star read that I had was from March, and it is A Torch Against the Night by Sabatier. If you were to tell me that I would pick up a YA fantasy series this year and fall in love with these characters, I would have told you you're crazy. I love spice. I love a spicy fantasy romance, but there was something about this book that really took me by surprise. Like I gave the first book in this series when I read it in February. I gave that 4 stars. So it was a very good start to this series. And I've heard the books get better and better and better. But this book, Lila and Elias, they really have to come together. And they go through the ringer in this book, let me tell you. But there were so many twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. We met a character and we got a point of view of a character in this book, but I thought I would hate her right after what happens in the first book. But I'm coming to really appreciate the complexity of her character. Like obviously Laia and Elias, there are complex characters. We see that in book 1. We already see that they're complex, but I thought this one character was so like one tone, one level, but she's so complex and we really get in her head in this book, and it makes sense a lot of things that are happening. I cannot wait to pick up the 3rd book, but I'm picking them up when I'm really in the mood for I know that they're gonna hit, where I'm like not feeling slumpy, but I'm like, okay, I've been reading okay books. I need like a banger, and I'm gonna go to this series. So that's what these books are for me, but I love the new covers. I love that they have artwork in them. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad I picked them up. I'm so glad I'm like now in the middle of this series, and I know that I'm gonna love the rest of the books in the series. So if you read them, let me know, but I love the colors. I love everything about this series. So Sabatier is an amazing author. I will be reading more books from her outside of the series. Those are all 9 5-star reads I have. Isn't that crazy? I have like less than 10. I think that's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 books. Less than 10 books 3 months into the year. I cannot wait to read, what 5-star books I'm going to have for the next 3 months. Let me know some of your 5-star reads so far this year in the comments down below. I would love to know. If you made it this far and you want to let me know, leave me a star emoji. Leave me all the stars. Leave me 1 star if your reading's going horrible, 2 star if your reading's pretty bad, 3 stars if it's just been meh, 4 stars if it's been pretty good, and 5 stars if you've had just a lot of 5-star reads. Let me know that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content for me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.